So this is officially a rumour, and you didn't hear this from me, but Hughes and Kettner have been bought by another company, and I'd love to know what you think this is going to mean for the brand. And we've seen so much of this recently. Gibson buying Messer, Marshall being bought, and that's really interesting because they're brands with 50, 70, 100 years or whatever of history, and some of them have become lifestyle brands in some cases to an extent. But this is interesting because Hughes and Kettner have been bought by possibly the biggest gear company in the world. I'm not sure which is bigger, if it's Sweetwater or Thomann. I've heard speculation on both sides, but Hughes and Kettner have been bought by Thomann. And you can say all you want about Harley Benton, which I'm sure you know, but if you don't, they're owned by Thomann as well. But to be able to make a guitar of that quality at such a low price point, it takes some serious buying power that pretty much no one else can compete with. To put it into perspective, Thomann have so much buying power. They can buy so many Celestion speakers and cabinets that they can sell us a vintage 30 loaded 212 for the same price as we can buy 2 speakers for, and they still make a profit. But what does this mean for Hughes and Kettner? And is it a good thing for them? And is it a good thing for us? In my opinion, their amps have always been way up there in terms of quality. Like for me, it's them, Diesel and Messer, which are the big ones for durability and roadworthiness, over-engineered and built to last. But their biggest downfall, again, just in my opinion, is lack of personality. It's not even a real thing, is it? It's just stupid guitarists speak. But I think Black Star suffer from a similar issue. They just don't really have a sound that you associate with them. And to be honest, my experience with them is quite limited compared to Marshall or EVH or Diesel. I did an album about 10 years ago, and this isn't a flex, I promise, but the engineer/producer that I worked with had done a Slipknot album, Trivium, Bullet for My Valentine, and I think Machine Head. He had a very good ear and loads of experience, obviously. We had my VH4, a 5150 or maybe a 6505, a 3-channel dual rectifier and a Triamp. I think it was a Mark II. And we did a 12-track album, all double-tracked and quad-tracked in the choruses, left and right overdub leads, guitar solos. And the 6-channel Triamp didn't make it onto a single track. And it's not that it sounded bad, it's just each of the sounds that we needed, we had a slightly more stripped-back amp that just kind of did that sound better. And something that backs up that theory of them not having a specific sound to me is the lack of amp models that simulate their sound within competitors' products. Like Helix doesn't have a Hughes and Kettner sound. Axe FX, I'm 99% sure, doesn't model a Triamp or any other Hughes and Kettner. And I'd be very surprised if there was a ton of Tonex captures or Kemper profiles out there, but I'm just guessing there. But for touring, probably one of the best amps that you can choose. You've got the reliability and flexibility, although I am kind of second-guessing myself now. Are they reliable, or am I just assuming they are because they're German? And actually, being the amp for everyone, well, it hasn't really hurt Black Star's success, the amp with 100 different sounds. Maybe with Thomann's buying power behind them, they can get things down to a more attainable price point. And that's just their flagship amp. Like, to me, the most exciting amp they've released in maybe the past 20 years is the Black Spirit floor amp. I would have been interested if it had been at a lower price point. I think the Nano Spirit heads, they're cool, but again, just with like a lot of these smaller amp heads, kind of a bit of a novelty. I can't really think of many people that sort of stand out as one of their artists. Alex Lifeson, for sure. Is he still with them? And I want to say Tony McAlpine as well, but again, I'm not sure. Who am I missing? To me, I think they're a good brand. It's just no one really talks about them much anymore. And I'm hoping that having Thomann behind them brings them back into the conversation. But I also hope that they don't become seen as just a house brand like Harley Benton, because, you know, nothing against Harley Benton. I make loads of videos with their stuff and I think they make good products. But I do think Hughes and Kettner deserve a bit more. And will they still have distribution, or will they just be sold through Thomann? Because if they did that, then it would effectively be direct to consumer, wouldn't it? And then, so if they passed those savings on to us along with their buying power, in theory, they could greatly reduce the price of their amps, unless you're in America. They've been around since the mid-80s, and the Red Box is still an industry standard at this point, even in a world of amp modelling and reactive loads, still going strong. And seeing the early 2000s magazine adverts of the Warped 7. It was aimed at like the new metal audience, and it's still my my first thought whenever I hear the name Hughes and Kettner. I never got to plug into one though. I wonder if it was any good. All this is just speculation. You didn't hear this from me, but I do want to hear what you think about the buyout, or just what you think of Hughes and Kettner generally, and what you associate with them, or who you associate with them. Please check out my affiliate links down below and consider subscribing so I can love you forever. This is an LT Custom Pioneer. It's one of the best guitars that you can buy with your wife's money. Check them out.